All right, thanks everyone for hopping on and joining us this morning. Our presenter today is Nikki Kimball, and she is going to lead us through a little intro on Intellius and then dive into the presentation. So Nikki, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, good morning, everyone, and good afternoon for some of us. I know it's a turn over the hour. I am Nikki Kimball, and I am a solution architect for Intellius. Chandra, if you have a few sentences about Intellius, then feel free. But I can just tell you my experience with Infor and Lawson and GHR has lasted over 20 years. Been working, started as a payroll manager, started working with the software in the early 2000s, and here we are working on the newest version of GHR and benefits. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Chandra, was there anything else that we wanted to talk about before I get started?
No, I think that we can go ahead and get going. Just as you get into your first slides, a little bit about Intellius. We are an alliance partner. We provide consulting for not only HCM solutions, but also finance, supply chain, and any technical work you may need to. So thanks again for joining us.
Okay, I guess I might have missed that slide in there. I apologize. I really apologize. Okay, so I'm going to turn off my camera so you can focus on the presentation here. Again, thank you for joining us today. Step Enrollment has been around for just over a year now, but they added to it, and we wanted to make sure that we talked to you early enough to potentially implement it for this year. It kind of came out last summer, some parts kind of trickled in April, May, June. But this year you have time to use it, see what it can do, and see if you want to use it for yourself this open enrollment season. So first we'll talk about an overview of open enrollment, then some setup, and then we'll compare it to the step enrollment and see what that looks like. I'll open up the system and we can look around in there, how to enable it, and what the setup looks like. So I'm not afraid of questions. If you want to either raise your hand or type something in the chat, Chandra, just focus me, and when I have a breath of a break, go ahead and interrupt me. Feel free. I'm not afraid of questions right on the spot. So again, welcome, and I'm going to go ahead and get started. So the overview of Infor Open Enrollment, there's a few basics. There's enrollment events in the benefits module that covers all kinds of events, life events, open enrollment. You can make your own, which is kind of convenient now that we can use it for job changes and any company specific changes that aren't related to the basic life events that were available in S3 for example. But open enrollment is special. It includes a set date range. It's usually for the annual benefits, taking effective 1/1 or whatever your calendar year may be for that. So it has some special stuff that it includes. As the regulations change, step enrollment has been introduced to address some of those. But with the basic open enrollment, what you have is enrollment groups, rules, and the actual event, and then the organizational rules, and enrollment rules. So those are the four basic parts of your current open enrollment. What the enrollment group is a group of benefits that you can select together within the event. So that's all your medical plans, for example. You can throw them into one enrollment group, and whatever the employee is eligible for is what they'll see, but also you have a waive plan if you're forcing them to select one. So you got to make sure you have all the options available in that medical group, including the waive. Then they show them together in the enrollment, and then that's the first thing we do, and then we can add them to the enrollment groups later on. To the enrollment rules, I apologize. So after you created the enrollment groups, you must create rules for each organization. Most of us have just the one. So this is a one-time setup, the organizational rules. And this is kind of how to display certain things within all the events, including open enrollment. The enrollment display, what the cost it shows, if it shows company employee costs, how it shows it monthly, biweekly, and then the current enrollment, what the current enrollment groups, what the current ones are. So once you do that, you can create each individual enrollment event. And these events are, like we talked about, different life events, job changes, COBRA, retiree, some people create, but open enrollment is what we want to focus on today. Let me give you a little snapshot here. Let's go in and look. So all the enrollment event setup is right here in this one little section. You go to benefits, enrollment events, and then setup. And the enrollment of groups are right here. You can do them however you like, but it's just a group of plans. So up at the top of the name is the name of the enrollment group, and down here are the plans associated with that group. You can change them over time. If you don't use them anymore, I don't think it'll let you delete them, but at least you don't have to select them. So once you get those built, the next step is enrollment rules. This is just the high level view inside all the life events. Like I said, you can show pre-tax, after-tax, employer costs, employee. And then it shows the current enrollment groups. So we'll come back to this, but on the organizational rules, that's where you see that check mark for the use step enrollment. It's just a check on or a check off. And I'll show you the difference here in a minute. So enrollment events, this is our test demo company. And for the open enrollment, the enrollment rules, and then you come in here, you can see the setup that goes into open enrollment, but with step enrollment, there's this new button, and we'll look at it here shortly. This isn't on the current one. It's called enrollment settings. And we'll come back to that in just a minute. So those are the four pretty much steps of enrollment event setup. And then what's different when it comes to benefit enrollment step setup? Pretty much it's on that organizational rules, you just flip that flag. Another thing behind the scenes, again, is I don't think I mentioned this, it is only available for multi-tenant. There is some updates that come into the system with the CU or some stuff last summer and last spring. So you just got to make sure those have been implemented, and for any multi-tenant they are. This is what the step enrollment rule looks like before, and this is what it looks like after. It has that enrollment settings tab that you don't have on the original enrollment. Let me see. So when it comes to their announcements, this is a lot of the stuff that's the canned announcements from Infor. For the most part, step enrollment is broken up, the open enrollment, into two main parts, the introduction and the enrollment. This was last year's announcement. What they were seeing is the original race. Oh no, this is for the April. They did a lot of updates in April, some good stuff. They added a lot of stuff. They listened to clients. They listened and said, what else is missing? What else can we add? So just last month, they added a bunch of stuff to go beyond what it was designed and help fit the customer's needs. So now it has up to 5 videos in step enrollment. I'll show you what that looks like. Separate images can now be attached to benefit plans. So currently you can actually set up a benefit plan. You say, here's the picture that goes along with it during the life events. You can, for step enrollment, you can override that and make it something different. If you want the life events to be different from the open enrollment. The employee information screen and introduction has now been made optional. So that way you don't have to produce, just a generic employee info screen. And enrolling in a benefit plan can now come with a customizable additional information and acknowledgement boxes. So that way you can make them your own if you don't fit into the to the delivered acknowledgments, you can write your own. There's also a way to access the step enrollment process in a couple of different screens when you're trying to preview. When you're trying to create your step enrollment, you can go to a couple different places to view it, kind of a preview to see if what you're creating in the step enrollment is looking like you want it to look. So you can go back and forth and bounce back. A lot of additional information messages are now available. Elected amounts and percents are now able to be updated to new values after their initial designation. I don't have much information about that, but at least you can change it in step enrollment now. Dependents can now be multi-selected in dependent enroll and unenroll actions, so you can select one or more than one. And you can now return to your enrollment from the final submission page, so you can go back to the very beginning. All right. So let me grab the screen. Let me show you what some of that looks like. So, oops, can't have both up there. So in the plan setup, benefit plans, I'm going to go to I think it's health. So we talked about having the pictures on the, what do they call, thumbnails or each individual plan when it comes to open enrollment. You can have one for the plan, but now they've added this step enrollment image, which is optional. So you can choose one or the other when you're actually setting up the open enrollment. And then there's also this enrollment groups tab down here, so you can get to it easier. Get to the plan rules. And then let me see. It says acknowledgement by plan. I'll have to come back to that. Wouldn't it? All right. So in enrollment events, and this can get buried sometimes. I always see. So if we go to our enrollment event and we go to the step enrollment that I set up, it's buried deep in here. So you have to go to the actual enrollment rules, and this is where you see it all, the enrollment settings. So this is a very long page. It scrolls down pretty far, but it has all the new functionality in it. Scroll back up. Sorry, don't mean to make you dizzy, but you can add, there's a header, a subheader, there's instructions. These links, I believe, were already there, these helpful links, but these are the video settings. So there's 5 new videos. These links can be videos up here. So there's helpful links, and those are just URLs. So those can be videos. But down here, these are embedded videos. So you kind of have to put them in there different. You have to make sure that it's got the embed lingo inside those links. So those will show up in a separate place, and I'll show you that in a moment. Let's see. So here's where you can select whether you want to show the employee information screen or not. And here's where you can also have them do some changes before they jump into open enrollment. They can do the name change, address change, and then you can show the eligibility survey, and that's where you attach a survey here. And if they want to change after tax elections or their tobacco status changes. So there's a lot that you can toggle on or toggle off here in your open enrollment. There's a dependent screen that is optional, so you can show it. You can make them for dependents and beneficiaries only, or combine them or separate them. I just did dependents only for this one. And here's what you can have the employee do: add, update, and remove. So a lot of times this functionality had to be done separate from Open Enrollment, so now it can be included, which is really nice functionality. On the enrollment settings, this is just the high level. Show the survey after selecting the plan, and then what to show for card. Do you want to show current benefits or not? You can allow for an electronic signature authorization, a checkbox or a signature itself, and then that you can kind of write some wording around it, which is nice. Then you can override what's shown there for the cost summary, and if there's any flex credits as well. So these are some added messages that they have added. So not submitted and no errors, not submitted with errors. So just some messages when they do certain things or when they're in certain situations for the employee. I don't think I can show you all. I tried to get some of these to come up, but I would have to break things, even though I'm probably good at that, but to get some of these messages. So let's see. So where can I go preview this? So if I go to back up to enrollment events, to my open enrollment, I'm not going to save those changes. No. And here's my enrollment event. And if I just go over here and I select my guy, here's where you can see what it looks like. So you can do a view introduction or you can view plan enrollment. So we're going to view plan introduction. And this is a lot of my setup. These are my helpful links here. You can put in this wording here. I don't even know if there's a limit. I think it's just you can put as much information as you want in there to guide them through this process. So there's the next button up here, and this is where the embedded videos are. So you can put up to 5 here. Oh, okay. And then this is the employee page. So where I had them eligible to add address, phone, contact, you can put all that in here, and it shows you the current status of the open enrollment. And this is the dependent section that I added that you can add, update, and remove dependents. And then here's my enroll button, and I'm going to go to the second part, which is the enrollment. So this is where I only have the meta. I don't even know if I have the vision plans here. Yep. I was playing with the pictures to see if I could get it to override. So there's a place where you select to use whether you want to use the step enrollment pictures or the plan. And I was playing with those. So it's going to show me the little red if I haven't gone through anything. I'm just going to select. Here's the information from the plan itself to say whether I'm a smoker or not. I am not. So it shows here selected. I can always withdraw. And if at any time I want to view what benefits I've selected throughout the thing, I can, throughout the open enrollment, I can say selected benefits. It'll give me a snapshot. So here, select. So here are my errors, warnings, and messages. They're all kind of grouped together. So it says I didn't complete my eligibility survey and the vision, and because I picked family, you must select at least 2. So this kind of gives you a better idea of what you what you did wrong or what the employee did wrong, so they can actually see it and visually go back and fix them. I'm going to bring this worksheet up. This worksheet is just going to be what they're eligible for within just a high-level worksheet of what the options are within the open enrollment. And here it talks about, this was one of the features they added. You can return to the beginning at this point because I did not do my surveys. I don't even know where I put them. Let me see. All right. Well, it looks like any questions about step enrollment and the pieces, parts, and all right, go back to the PowerPoint. So we looked at the introduction section. There's 4 screens to it: the welcome, the video, the employee information, and the dependent/beneficiary if you want it. This is a high level, just an overview. The enrollment section, you have, we saw this, whether you can select what the different statuses are that you have. So we selected records with no alerts. And then we did see that errors and warnings existed on that last page. So this is going to show you on the last page what your options or what the errors and warnings you have to fix. The enrollment section on the card, we showed the card and how you can override the picture. And the gallery view allows for more, with the open enrollment, has that gallery view where you can see, and it's much more visual of an open enrollment experience. So you can get a snapshot of each benefit that's eligible. This says troubleshooting the new step enrollment enhancements. Ensure it's turned on. You wouldn't be able even to get in there if it wasn't turned on. And this is responsive mode is enabled on your benefits organization. This allows the step enrollment to work correctly. And then this says refresh your browser when you're in there. But what I've noticed is that if you make a change, so if I'm in open enrollment setup and open enrollment events, and I say I want in my settings, I change my settings here to let's see, to beneficiaries, separated beneficiaries. If I go back now, I would not be able to see that. What you actually have to do in the troubleshooting piece is with that open enrollment, you will have to remove this, delete this, and re-add them as an enrollment, because it takes a snapshot of the enrollment when it creates. So any changes you have to delete, when you're testing, that is, you'll have to delete it and re-add it to see the changes happen. Any questions? Anything else you want to see?
Nikki, we do have a few questions that have came in. So the first one is a 2-parter. I'm going to rattle off the whole thing and let me know if you need me to repeat any part.
Okay.
When you add, update, or remove a dependent during OE, does that take effect immediately and remove current coverage, or on the new effective date of the new plan? And the second part is, why does it look like to, or what does it look like to the employees?
So can you add a dependent in real time? Yes. It does not have, it's going to use today's date as the effective date. I want to see if I can even show that. So if I add the name, yeah, it'll be immediate for sure, for sure. And then the second part was, are they?
The second part was, what does it look like on the employee side?
Okay, yeah, so they would see them right here immediately.
Oh, okay. All right, we've got another one. Can you please verify that this enhancement is only for companies who are multi-tenant?
That's correct, multi-tenant only.
Okay. Will the PowerPoint be available after this meeting? Yes, we will get that, as well as a recording of this emailed out to you in the next day or so. We tested the unenrolled dependent option, and once submitted, even if the event is still active and not finalized, the unenrolled options disappear, even if you withdraw and come back. Is there another refresh that works? We also reset all elections, and that didn't bring back the unenrolled dependent option either. That might be more of a troubleshooting.
Yeah. Unenrolled dependent option and one submitted, sorry, if the event isn't still. No, I would have done everything that you tried. Not bring the unenrolled dependent option either.
This might be one where we can look into it and circle back.
Okay. I will have to play with it as well. It sounds like you tested it quite a bit, but I'll have to take a look at it and see if there is another way. Okay.
All right, I've got your info here, so we'll get back to you on that one. All right, we've got some more. Can you please review the limiting of coverage options for each benefit based on dependents in system? In my testing, if I have a spouse and I click on spouse options, the employee only option disappears and I can't get it back. In testing, current coverage does not always show. For example, currently have vision coverage. When selecting Vision Plus, current coverage says it doesn't exist because Vision Plus doesn't match vision. I will have to limit it. So that's the employee plus child. So if I enroll dependents, you're saying so you're saying you're not getting this unenrolled dependents when you go back in? Is that my understanding? Current coverage does not always show. They said the cards disappear for employee only.
Oh, interesting. Let me do a little more research on that. I don't know if that's a bug or not. I would think that the limiting of coverage options is supposed to be based on what you have, but it shouldn't. remove the employee, I wouldn't think. Let me, I'll do some research on that as well. I will have to test that out because I'm not sure I have it set up correctly for that.
All right. So the first question we had about removing a dependent and whether or not it takes effect immediately, they were wondering specifically if removing a dependent would be immediately effective or not until the new plan year.
Okay. From my understanding, if I want to remove my wife, in the that's who I am. Looks like it just removed it from the enrollment. I'll have to see if there's an approval out there sitting there because there's a pending on the one I added. I think it has to be approved. I'll have to watch that whole process go through. So sorry again. I'll follow up and make sure and document exactly what happens to that dependent.
These are great questions. It's cool to see so many of you are already testing and playing around with this functionality. So any other questions today? All right.
And I apologize for not being able to answer all the great questions right now. I have a very basic setup for this demonstration, but I will definitely dig in and test these and share results. I think these are great questions. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. We'll do some troubleshooting and research and get back to you on those. And we can respond to the whole group if everybody's interested too, just with a couple of notes on what we find. Like I said, replay link and presentation will be coming to you in the next couple of days. And if you have any questions that pop up, I think, Nikki, do you have a slide that has our contact info?
Yeah, sorry. Yep.
Oh, no problem. This also has some info on our YouTube page, so we'll make sure you can link that. We have tons of good videos like this out there that if you are wondering how to do something, it's easy to pop in and take a look. So. All right, well, thank you all. Thank you, Nikki. And we will be in touch soon.
Thanks, everyone.